In this question, we need to sketch the graph of y equals 2x squared minus 8x minus 5, showing the coordinates of the turning point and the exact coordinates of any intercepts with the coordinate axes. And so before we can sketch the graph, we need to find the y-intercepts, the x-intercepts, and the turning points. We'll start by finding the y-intercepts. Quadratic equations are always in the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And so in this format, c is always the y-intercept. We have the graph y equals 2x squared minus 8x minus 5. And so we can quickly identify that c is equal to minus 5, and so the y-intercept of the graph is equal to minus 5. The next thing that we can find is the turning points. And in order to find the turning point of the graph, we need to complete the square. We can set y equal to 0, and we can say that 2x squared minus 8x minus 5 equals 0. Now when we complete the square, we want our equation to look something like this. We have a, brackets x plus d, all squared, plus e, equals 0. And we can find the turning point from this format. The x-coordinates of the turning point would be the negative of the value of d, and the y-coordinates of the turning point would be the value of e. And so we can say that the turning point would be minus d, e. Let's continue to complete the square. We can start by dividing 2x squared minus 8x by the coefficient of x squared, and the coefficient of x squared is the number that comes before x squared, which in this case is equal to 2. And so to divide 2x squared minus 8x by 2, we'll be left with 2 multiplied by x squared minus 4x, and then we have the minus 5 at the end, and we're going to be ignoring the minus 5 for the time being. Now we want to get rid of the x squared, and so we have x squared minus 4x. Now we need to divide minus 4 by 2, and so minus 4 divided by 2 would be equal to minus 2. Now let's explain how we got from the second line to the third line. Let's focus on the square brackets on each line. We have x squared minus 4x. Now to get rid of the x squared, we divided minus 4 by 2 to get minus 2. And so that leaves us with x minus 2 all squared. And then we have the minus 4. And we want to know where this minus 4 came from. Minus 4 comes from the brackets itself. We have minus 2, and minus 2 all squared is equal to 4. And so we have to take away 4. And so essentially, the square brackets in line 2 is equal to the square brackets in line 3, but they're written in a different way. And you can see this if you expand x minus 2 all squared minus 4. X minus 2 all squared would be equal to x squared minus 4x plus 4. And then we have minus 4, which leaves us with x squared minus 4x, exactly like in line 2. And like we said, we're ignoring the minus 5 for now, so the minus 5 is still here. Now let's simplify this further. We have 2 outside of the square brackets. And so this means that we have 2 multiplied by x minus 2 all squared, and then we have 2 multiplied by minus 4. And so 2 multiplied by x minus 2 all squared can still be written as 2 multiplied by x minus 2 all squared, but 2 multiplied by minus 4 can be written as minus 8. And we still have the minus 5 at the end. Now let's simplify minus 8 minus 5, which is equal to minus 13. And so after having completed the square, we're left with 2 multiplied by x minus 2 all squared, take away 13, is equal to 0. And we can see that this is in the format a multiplied by x plus d all squared plus e equals 0. We can say that d is minus 2, and e is minus 13, and the turning point is minus d, e. Well, if d is equal to minus 2, then minus 2 would be equal to positive 2, and we can leave e as minus 13. And so our turning point of minus d, e, would be equal to positive 2 minus 13. Well, now that we've found the y-intercept and the turning point, we need to find the x-intercept. Now we know from when we completed the square that 2 multiplied by x minus 2 all squared minus 13 is equal to 0. We need to solve to find x, and let's start by moving the minus 13 over to the other side. leaving us with 2 multiplied by x minus 2 all squared equals 13. Now let's divide both sides by 2, leaving us with x minus 2 all squared is equal to 13 over 2. We can then find the square root of both sides. And so the square root of x minus 2 all squared would be equal to x minus 2. And the square root of 13 over 2 would be plus minus root 13 over 2. And the plus minus is really important, because we know that when we square root a number, it could have a positive and a negative solution. And now to find x, we just need to move the minus 2 over to the other side, which will leave us with x is equal to 2 plus minus root 13 over 2, which means that the two solutions for x would be x equals 2 plus root 13 over 2, and x equals 2 minus root 13 over 2. Now using this information, let's draw a sketch of our graph. We found that the y-intercept of our graph was minus 5, and so the graph intersects the y-axis at the point 0, minus 5. We then found that the turning point of the graph has the coordinates 2, minus 13. And then we found that the two x-intercepts of the graph would be 2 minus root 13 over 2, and 2 plus root 13 over 2. And so we have the 4 main coordinates that we need in order to sketch our graph. Now let's join these points together in the shape of a parabola, leaving us with a complete and final sketch of the graph y equals 2x squared minus 8x minus 5. Now this question is worth 5 marks. We get the first mark for finding that the y-intercept of the graph is equal to minus 5. We get the second mark for completing the square and finding that the turning point of the graph is equal to 2 minus 13. We get the third mark for our process to solve for x in order to find the x-intercepts of our graph. We get the fourth mark for correctly finding that x is equal to 2 plus minus root 13 over 2. And we get the fifth and final mark for correctly plotting these points and for joining them into a smooth parabola, leaving us with a complete and labelled sketch of the graph y equals 2x squared minus 8x minus 5. And so we've now achieved the full 5 marks needed in this question.